Hey everyone, it's Ashley Bradley, and today I have Elizabeth Nguyen, and she started Yoga Boss Babe, this amazing subscription box for yogis and for yoga teachers. Hi, Elizabeth.
Actually, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to come on here and just share um, what my project is right now with Yoga Boss Babe.
Tell me about the purpose part of it for you, because I remember you telling me like what was behind this and what inspired you. So, what's like the purpose for you behind Yoga Boss Babe?
So when I first graduated from teacher training, I remember feeling like I wasn't really prepared on what to do afterwards. I know that 200 hours isn't enough time for them to go to the business aspect of yoga, and I didn't expect them to either, just because 200 hours seems like a lot, but it's really not. And I would rather have them spend that time on teaching about yoga and the foundations and the philosophies. But I felt like at the same time, when I graduated, I didn't really know what to do, how to approach yoga studios or gyms or what have you in regards to teaching yoga. So at the time, I thought that teaching at studios was the end all be all. Like I was just like, I want to teach at a studio. That's where I want to go. And when that didn't really work out for me because of different factors, I started dipping my toes in other things. So the purpose of Yoga Boss Babe inside includes like tools and accessories for you to help teach and self-care items. But the thing that I'm most excited about in the box is each box comes with a short workshop for you to introduce you, to let you dip your toes in different aspects of yoga. And if you find out that you like something that resonates with you, then you can kind of go on to explore those options. But if you don't like it, it's fine. At least you have that little introduction of what it is. So for instance, 2 boxes ago, we had yoga retreats. So we had a workshop on how to set up a yoga retreat, how to lead one, how to facilitate, how to find the right place to hold it, to find the right company that will work with you, how to price it, how to market it.
So I know that when we talked about you like starting a business, it was like this big leap that you took. And I feel like there's a lot that holds people back, that they have these great ideas or these big desires. But what would you want to say to other women out there that have this idea, but they're not like going for it yet?
When I finally put the two and two together of the idea of Yoga Boss Babe, like I was so excited, and that fire in me was like, I can't stop. And it was, I want to say last April or May at this time last year, where I actually put the two and two together and put the idea together. And
Mm-hmm.
since then, I've thought about it every single day. Like it's the first thing I think about when I wake up. It's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. And it's just, it feels so right that I know that it's like, it's a passion of mine, and it doesn't feel like work. So if you have an idea that you love and that you are 100% passionate about, go for it. Like just take the leap. Don't look back, because if you look back, you're gonna freak out. But if you really feel it in your heart, like just take that leap, because if you don't, I feel like you're gonna miss out on so much. And the feeling that I got when I first thought of Yoga Boss Babe was, oh my gosh, I need to do this now before someone else gets to it. And the feeling I thought of when I imagined someone else getting to it before me, I felt, oh my gosh, I could have done it. Like I could have been the first one there. So that for me was more of like a get off your butt and do it, because I want to be the first one to do it, and not be the second person or the copycat or whatever. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, it was like this whole like light bulb that lit up, So I just so excited to get that out into the market. And looking back now from everything that I have done since I launched, I can't believe I've done most of the things, because my personality, I'm a very shy person. So it's really brought me out of my shell. So, like I said, just leap, fly, jump, fly, whatever it is, and try not to look back, because looking back, it's like, it's like, what did I say? So yeah, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you have something that you're so, so passionate about and like your heart just like, you're so excited about it, do yourself a favor and just leap and go for it, because you're going to regret it if someone else has your same idea and they're first to market before you and yours was better or whatever it is. So you don't want any regrets, and it's better to try and then learn as you go versus kind of like waiting for the perfect moment, because there's not going to be a perfect moment for anything, right? So just kind of take that leap and just trust yourself. So long story short. Sorry.
You were just completely like glowing and lit up as you
Oh,
talk
funny.
about it. Like I feel what you're saying. And that part of really stood out about like not looking back, because that'll just completely freak you out. And I've become like really aware more recently that the people that are actually the most ambitious, that are going after these big things and starting their own businesses, are the ones that have the most inner critics that start to sneak around and get into your ear and bring in that energy that feels a little blah. So what do you do when you have those things sneak in? What works really well for you there?
So with the nature of my box, so I'm going to have new subscribers and I'm going to have people who cancel. So I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen when I get that first cancellation, and how am I going to feel like, because I tend to take a lot of things personally. So when that time came, I think I was okay with it, just because I shifted my mindset of, instead of saying, no, I don't like what you offered, it was more like, no, I don't think it's a good fit for me. I just want customers who really believe in what we're doing and really really uses my box as a tool in their teaching. So attracting the right people. So you're going to attract people that are good for you, and you're going to attract people that are not good for you. And it's okay if they're not good for you, because there's tons of other people out there. When I do get down in the dumps, because as entrepreneurs, it's such a roller coaster, up and down, I try to just breathe it out. And it sounds cliche, but it really works. It really works. So I think it was in our December or January box where I made these little cards that said, success is made from a bunch of small wins. So on the back of that, I had our subscribers kind of just keep track of the little wins that they had, just because if we always, like, whenever we get down in the dumps and are just such inner critics about ourselves, we tend to forget how far we've come. All those little wins that we've had to get to this moment right now, we tend to forget, and we tend to focus on, oh my gosh, like this just happened, this huge negative thing happened, and we tend to blow it out of proportion. So with those little cards, I wanted to just set it as like a reminder, like when you're having those days, and it's inevitable that you're going to have those days, go back to those cards and just reassure yourself, like, hey, I did this. Even if it was something small or if it was big, whatever it is, it's something, and you're taking a step forward to where your goal is. So to answer your question, sorry, just breathing it out and like meditate on what your goals are. Kind of just go back to what your purpose is and why. Find your why and kind of reconnect with that. If you feel like you've strayed from that why, just kind of come back to the path that you've kind of created for yourself, and just remind yourself of all the good things that you've done so far. And don't take those for granted, because those are the ones that are going to lift you and carry you through your success.
What is a small win or like a big win that you'd want to celebrate about yourself right now, whether it's related to Yoga Boss Babe or not?
You caught me off guard. So I've been very fortunate to have a lot of PR around my box. So I was featured on BuzzFeed. I was featured at the South by Southwest. I'm in LA Yoga Magazine. So I've been blessed to have a lot of those bigger companies for exposure. But I think what keeps me grounded is listening to the feedback that my subscribers give me, like listening to the feedback when they open the box, they're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed, or like those kind of things. Those are the things that kind of push me to do better for the next month. And those feedback is real, and I take those more personally just because I'm doing it for them and I'm getting real and raw feedback. I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Yeah, just like what's your win that you want to celebrate right now, big or small?
Yeah, so I guess my win would be all the feedback that I get from the subscribers, because they mean so much to me. And I mean, I know it's a cliche to say, but I have like this group of just really wonderful women who support each other, and it's just a great go-to place to just talk about yoga and be real with each other. And I know that there are a lot of other Facebook groups for yoga teachers, but
Mhm.
sometimes if it gets so big, you kind of feel like you're just a number. So one of my goals was to keep it intimate so that we get to know each other. We get to know each other on a personal level. And I feel that's really important. And I guess one of my biggest wins is just having my box resonate with everyone, right? So having my box, having everything that all the work that I've done so far, and putting it in one box and having it convey the message that I want it to convey to the person opening the box. Like, and every time I hear people's reactions, like that just like pushes me forward, like, hey, I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path, keep going. And those are the things that kind of fuels my energy to keep going.
So one last question, and just in our final like few minutes, what do you hope that, whether it's just yoga as a whole or Yoga Boss Babe specifically, like brings into the world? Because I feel like the world like really needs more people like you and more yoga, but what do you want for the world like through all of this?
Um, I would want yoga to be more accessible. So I know that a lot of people have strong opinions on like beer yoga or goat yoga or whatever, because a lot of people say it's not real yoga, which yes and no. I feel like if you're already into yoga, you're gonna already have your studio or have your teacher that you're gonna go to. But for the rest of us who are kind of maybe scared to try yoga or kind of reluctant, a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. But you don't have to be. But there's like this whole thing about I'm not spiritual enough, I'm not flexible enough, I don't know how to touch my toes or whatever. But I feel like there's a space for unique ways to take your yoga. So beer yoga, goat yoga, yeah, it's funny, but it gets people to class, and it opens up that door to have people try yoga who wouldn't have before. So hopefully they'll do the beer yoga, whatever, and then they actually took something away from the yoga class, and then they find themselves taking a yoga class or whatever it is. So I wanted to just inspire people to be different, to think outside the box. Because like I said before, when I first started teaching or when I first graduated, I thought teaching yoga at a studio was the end all be all. And it's so not. I mean, look what I did with Yoga Boss Babe, right? Like, not to toot my own horn, but I mean, that's thinking outside the box. I mean, not to sound like, I didn't mean that to sound cocky or anything, but
It
try to
didn't.
find a way to be unique, because there's so much competition out there that
Yeah.
being unique and finding your own voice and who you are and having that portrayed through what you're serving will help you so much. And a lot of times yoga teachers, they want to, like, I had the same thing, like in my mind, as I was teaching, I was like, oh, I want to sound like that teacher because she's so good, but maybe that's not me. And if I copied her, then I wouldn't sound like myself. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like just finding who you are, finding what you're good at, and finding a unique service or unique way that you can incorporate yoga into that and then offer it into the world. And that's kind of what I wanted Yoga Boss Babe to do, just to get people to think outside the box and um, to own their own personality and their uniqueness and just find something that they love and just take the leap and fly.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, just for your time, for sharing everything, personal about your journey, like with Yoga Boss Babe, and for sharing your words of wisdom for other women out there. I really appreciate it, and it was actually just really delightful just to get to hear you and see you like lit up and talking
Thank
about it.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure being here and being able to share my story. And it's just wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.